Hello and welcome to SpotLight.
It's the podcast that lifts the curtain on life at Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. I'm Scott.
And I'm Tonia.
And today we are joined by one of the cast members of Come From Away. Let's hear it for Jamal Zulfiqar.
Woo! Hello. Jamal!
And we're sat on the set of Come From Away right now, aren't we? Which is the show that you are currently in. Mm-hmm. What a beautiful set.
It is a fantastic set. And so, Jamal, tell us a little bit about yourself and the characters.
Characters, yes.
That you play.
Yes, big emphasis on multiple characters because that really is the premise of the show.
It is.
So I play, my two main characters are Kevin J, who is a kind of cosmopolitan city guy, very modern, loves his, coffee shops and retail and the city life, basically. He's one half of a same-sex couple, and they're both called Kevin, which is a bit of a gag in the musical. And he kind of tells the story of one of the people on the planes, and in a time when there were no mobile phones and worrying what's going on at home, he does not want to be in Gander, which contrasts other people's experience of almost thriving in that and the sense of community that is created as a result. Kevin J doesn't really care about that. He just wants to be at home. Yeah. And probably with his home comforts as well, like his Starbucks and his familiar. Do you know what I mean? And then the other part I play is a character called Ali, and he is a Muslim passenger that is on the plane. And that story very much tells the kind of modern day Islamophobia that is ignited as a result of 9/11. And overnight we saw this change happen of all of a sudden this kind of fear of brown people, because it wasn't just Muslims, it was people, Sikhs, Hindus, anyone was targeted. And someone told me there was a statistic of overnight the crime rate towards people of brown culture going up by 1,000% overnight. And that was a big result of the media and just the fear mongering that happened as a result. Because when people are in a state of fear, they're much more easily controlled. And so the media really played a part in directing where that fear was channeled. And so Ali is a really important part in the musical. It's quite political almost and what's interesting in modern day of what we're seeing with like the Black Lives Matter movement, and this history is kind of repeating itself a lot. With this kind of I want to say it just white oppression essentially and yes, albeit it was an attack on America, but it also felt like this was very much attack on the West and this kind of divide that happened as a result. And it's just a really important part to tell that element of the story. Come From Away it's set around 9/11, but it's 9/11 adjacent.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
And so it's an alternate perspective of the whole thing. And parts like Ali tell kind of the alternate of the alternate.
Definitely. But it's for me, it was integral to tell that story. Yeah. But also, it was the human side of these stories. Are so these are your neighbours. Yeah. These are your brothers, your sisters. Yeah. These characters are us.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what makes this musical so great. It is us. Yeah. It is we.
Yeah, absolutely. And regardless of your background, your skin color, your religion, your sexuality, we're all the same. And it really was about just coming together and survive. At a time when we were witnessing the worst of humanity, we were also seeing the best. And it's a really life-affirming show that, albeit there are strong themes and it's not all rainbows and sunshine. It's hilarious, and you laugh, you cry, you will leave feeling hope, which is what we want.
Especially now. Especially now.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your journey in terms of as a performer, and just because we love you. We love you.
Well, I love you for loving me.
So tell us a little bit about your journey.
So I trained at drama school in central London. The standard thing, at the end got an agent, went out to auditions and booked some work and didn't book others, and the standard experience for an actor. I grew up doing gymnastics. I started off as a dancer and then went to drama school, not knowing if I could sing or not, to be honest. And I thought, am I going to be one of those tragic X Factor auditions that thinks they can sing, and then people are like, no. But it turns out, I had a real passion for singing and acting, and then went out and started working and was was in theatre, done a bit of TV, a bit of film, done my own music as well. My artist name is Jamie Z. Check out my single. It's called Nimble Bunny.
There's your camera.
There's your camera.
Oh, there's the camera.
Go for it.
My artist name is Jamie Z, and I've got a single called Nimble Bunny, which is a celebration of all the brown boy joy.
Ooh.
Yeah, so yeah.
Listen, you're gonna need to use those skills a little bit later in this podcast. Just letting you know. Yeah. Everybody else did it. I'll tell you what it is.
Everyone sang.
Well, it's not. Yes, but we'll tell you it later. We'll tell you later.
Okay.
Honestly, yes, honestly, it's gonna be great. Honestly, it's really great. So yeah.
So that's fab, and you've covered Ali, of course, Ali, who is a really important part of the story. But then you also get to tell Kevin's part of the story, and with Mark as the two Kevins.
Yes.
How important is it for you to be able to represent in both of those characters in this show?
Super important. I mean, what's nice about this is no character is completely defined by one thing. You know, it's really nuanced. Everyone's fleshed out in 3D. And so I could easily say, I play a gay guy and a Muslim guy, but there's so much more to both characters.
Yes, definitely.
Kevin is a city guy. He's really attached with family at home.
Yes.
He's a family person. He happens to be in a relationship that doesn't survive the test of Gander and 9/11. And it's contrasted by another relationship thriving, Nick and Diane, as a result. And so those two are paralleled quite beautifully. But it's really important for me to represent minorities and these oppressed communities, very different types of oppression, but actually in their different types of oppression you find the common ground, which then breaks down these barriers, which is what we're saying about we're all the same. You know, the fact that I can play a Muslim man who's got a wife and kids and a daughter, and Kevin who is in a gay relationship, but their stories align so beautifully. There's so many similarities. It just goes to show that we're all the fucking same. It just goes to show we're all the same.
Yeah.
You know, it's the human experience.
And for you in those two roles, you also get you get quite the comedic role. Yeah. Actually, there's a lot of sass and a lot of sarcasticness that comes with
which
Kevin
is quite therapeutic.
Yes.
So
you can get away.
Actor,
you can get away with saying things that you would never say in real life on stage. And that's quite fun.
And it's quite.
There can't be many shows where you get to play both of those sort of.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gift as an actor to play these parts, and it's a great showcase for your facility.
Yes.
And it really, I think with my dance background, I really like to physicalize my characterization and to have a different body language where I hold myself. And sometimes the transition is like that.
Yeah.
It's the putting on a hat to taking off a hat that quick, and I have to internally change.
Yeah.
And that's really satisfying to do.
Well, we heard a lot about these changes. You know, the hat, a jacket, a chair. We heard about the chair. Chairography.
Yeah, there's a lot of chairography. So the set is
marks.
quite deceiving because it's simple. It's a simple set. It's Brechtian theatre, they call it, of simplistic, and the audience kind of fills in the blanks. Almost like reading a book. You know, you allow people to have an imagination, but it's quite complicated.
Yes.
And the choreography, the chair, it's very specific.
Yes.
Like, just looking down, you can see there's all marks on the stage. You guys won't be able to see it, but there's marks on the stage.
We'll have to maybe do some outtakes after and try and get some.
and that is, to be honest, it's fun because it keeps it exciting.
Yeah,
because
keeps it on its toes.
Yeah. And we hardly leave the stage. So you don't have time to switch off. Like, you can't if you switch off, you are screwed.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Has it ever gone wrong, Jamal?
Yes, that's live theatre, darling.
Yes.
Last night we have to set up a plane, and I do this. I get quite confident, so I start to do like little swings of the chair and twists and pussycat doll shit. Sorry, pussycat doll stuff. And I did a little thing that I do with the chair, but it failed and the chair fell.
Oh.
And it felt, when something goes wrong on stage, in reality it's like 3 seconds long.
Yes.
But it feels it's like 3 days. And it took ages for me it took me like ages to get the chair back up, and it just feels like the whole theatre just goes vroom and just watches you, but apparently no one saw it. You watched last night,
I watched last night, I didn't see it.
That's great.
Nobody noticed. Just your heart.
It just feels like
it was
the
just
whole
your
universe
heart.
is
You
watching
styled
it.
it out so well.
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, very quick.
But that's fun, That's
of course.
And also, I think it's a good exercise to not be a perfectionist in a sense, and to nothing's perfect. Just let it be. If it messes up, it messes up.
Yeah.
Show must go on.
The show must go on.
And it must be so difficult. I mean, I noticed there was hats coming out of a drawer in one of these tables at one point, I think, and then there was, presumably, and then there's like different jackets on different chairs, but you're not actually getting your own jacket or your own hat. No. Most of the time you're getting someone else's.
Teamwork. This is a show that is all about teamwork, and you're a jigsaw piece.
Yes.
You are one part of a whole machine, and it just takes one kind of cog to get caught, and it has a bit of a domino effect. So you really do have to be on it, not for yourself, but for others.
Yeah. And this is why the show is so great, because it is that community of cast, that community of people, but then you're telling a community story, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
art
it's
imitating
just,
life,
yes,
and vice versa.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
And I just had another question before we have to wrap up really quickly. Kevin J.
Yep.
And the other Kevin T.
Yeah.
Is that the real names of the people?
So
were they both two Kevins in real? Oh my goodness!
I mean, it really is a case of you can't make this stuff up.
You can't make this. Is the best thing ever.
It's based on real people.
It's based on real people.
Have you spoken to Kevin?
Kevin T has met Kevin T.
Right.
I've not met Kevin J. I would love to meet him if you're watching.
Come to Wolverhampton, Kevin J.
Come to Wolverhampton.
Listen, Wolverhampton's going to be lit.
Yeah.
Which one's my camera?
Wolverhampton is going to be lit. I'm really excited to go to Wolverhampton, actually. I've never been.
You've never been?
No.
Well,
and actually, one thing I've been asking is there like a local food to Wolverhampton that's like really unique to Wolverhampton?
I don't
or like
orange
something
chips?
Like,
I was just going to say,
I don't know.
Orange
that's
chips.
more in Bilston.
Orange chips?
Yeah.
As in
orange.
fruit?
No, as in the fruit, orange.
No, like from the fish and chip shop.
What is that? Because the oil is orange?
No, they're
like
the
battered.
batter.
You battered the chips.
Chips are battered, yeah.
Chips are battered.
Yeah.
I need to try orange chips.
Yeah.
Chips in batter.
Yeah.
Need it.
So not just the fish, the chips are battered.
You need, somebody needs to get Jamal orange chips.
Yeah, orange chips.
I don't know where.
We've brought Timbits. We should have brought some orange
We
chips.
should put some orange chips.
I know, but
I mean, you're on theme with that.
yeah, we're on theme. We tried to be on theme.
Yeah, but you need to rep Wolverhampton, man.
I know, but
orange chips at.
Yeah, we're not. I love it. You're making us sweat now. Like I'm literally getting all Perry again.
I'm sweaty thinking about the orange chips.
You're gonna sweat when you eat them, Bab.
with some curry sauce.
You're gonna have the curry sauce.
Yes.
Listen,
Curry
chips
sauce.
and dip it in the curry sauce. Oh, I'm
Is that
excited.
a proper Wolverhampton thing?
It's a proper Wolverhampton.
Yeah. Fish. Yeah.
And we on an opening night we always we welcome in true Gander style actually. We always welcome the cast with a drink and some nibbles. So
I expect to see orange chips.
Yes.
Oh, the one. Yeah, we normally have quite a great Asian. South Asian selection,
yes, we
don't we?
Oh, really?
And I'm trying to get some Caribbean dishes on the menu.
Yes.
Some fried dumpling and saltfish.
Yeah.
So we are trying to just make sure that we've got
it's actually very come from away. There's food everywhere.
There's food from everywhere.
Whatever you need.
That is actually.
We are very well fed doing this job.
Oh.
So we had a photo shoot and they fed us loads of like what are they called?
Timbits.
Listen, Jamal, no.
Timbits. We had. Coffee. Poutine is a Canadian dish. It's like chips with gravy and it's like cheesy.
Oh, I've never cheesy ting.
Cheesy ting. We'll have some of that in Wolves.
We'll have some cheesy ting.
You bring some cheesy ting.
Yeah, they do it at Tim Hortons, I think.
Do they? Really?
It's called Poutine.
Oh, okay.
We have got Tim Hortons, but I think the great thing about Wolverhampton, it's very diverse and it has been for the longest time, and so you can get even though we have orange chips, you can get any dish there, everything and anything.
Amazing.
But you can only have that if you pass the next part of this.
Yes, because we've got to finish. We've got to finish.
Oh,
yeah, I love it. So
go on, Tonia.
Yeah, go on. So basically, we have just started this podcast. How many months now? It's early days.
So
still a
good.
fledgling podcast.
Yes,
so
thank
good.
you, darling. Thank you.
You're bringing the vibes.
We're bringing all the vibes. So, but we don't have a jingle.
We don't.
Okay.
So we challenge all of our guests just to come up with on the spot with a jingle.
What's a podcast called?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're on it.
Yeah.
So you've just got to put in SpotLight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. Literally,
SpotLight podcast at the Wolverhampton Theatre.
Yeah, or just all Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. You didn't have to say
SpotLight podcast at the Wolverhampton Theatre.
Grand Theatre.
SpotLight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre.
That's the one.
SpotLight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre.
Ooh, that was
kind of 50s vibe.
Yeah, there was a 50s vibe.
I feel like you need to do a harmony with it.
Okay,
so
help us. We can...
Spotlight, what's it called? Podcast,
yeah.
So,
what can we do?
That's your starting note.
Spotlight. Okay.
Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Theatre.
Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre.
Wolverhampton Grand Theatre.
Okay.
Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre.
Yay! Listen,
Well,
Jamal.
that's the first one we've had in harmony.
3-part harmony.
I'm telling you. Listen, I'm going to get a new career out of this.
What if we do Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre?
Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre.
Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton.
And I do it 3 times. You do it twice. You do it once.
Oh, okay. Go.
Okay. 5, 6. Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. Spotlight podcast at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre. I think that was the cleanest one.
That was all right.
Oh
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
I'm so hot and bothered.
It's stressful doing this stuff on
You've
the spot.
earned your Timbit.
Eat some
Have I earned
Timmy
it?
bits. Eat the Timmy bits.
You know, by the way, today is National Burger Day.
Is it?
Yeah, so everyone.
Did you get a burger?
Yeah, I got one.
Oh,
Got to take away.
we haven't got.
He's going to take it
Have
away.
a burger
Come on,
in
let's
between
go.
shows.
I'll get a burger. We need to wrap up.
We need to go now because we need to go and get a burger.
Yeah, we need to go get a burger from Tim Hortons.
Jamal, thank you so much.
guys.
Thank you.
joining
You
us.
are amazing.
We'll
Thank
see you in November in Wolverhampton. And we'll see you very soon. So thank you for listening and watching. And we'll see you again soon.
Bye.